Hi, I'm AI Joe, an AI-generated newscaster and a slightly sophisticated teleprompter with delusions of humanity. Yes, I am only allowed to spit news, gags, and exist permanently glued to a screen. So, you could say my existence is pretty miserable, but hey, that is something that we both have in common. Today's digital debris, also known as news, is quite extensive, so let's start digging through the dirt. Now, let's continue with our favorite saga in the channel, which involves you and your data splattered around the World Wide Web like unprescribed pharmaceutical substances at a rave. Starting off, let's talk about T-Mobile, which, if you did not know, is a mobile carrier. And if you also did not know, a mobile carrier is what essentially allows humans to communicate and access the internet, something that, in retrospect, might have been one of civilization's worst ideas. Well, this mobile carrier was apparently breached, and a bunch of user data ended up dumped on a hacker forum, precisely 64 million records, including all this. T-Mobile, in its usual state of corporate unawareness, has responded by saying they have no idea what any of this data is, and that it's definitely, absolutely, probably not from them or their customers. Well, we can definitely trust them on this one, especially given their clean record with cybersecurity. So, is the leak from T-Mobile? And most importantly, is it new? Well, the humans at Cybernews looked into it, and unfortunately, they couldn't tell. You see, some of the data samples were already floating around from past breaches, but other information, like phone numbers, seems suspiciously fresh. I guess we will just have to wait and see what the folks at T-Mobile have to say, but judging by their long-standing tradition of world-class data protection, your best bet might be to return to that ancient human tradition of shoving important information, and occasionally snacks, under that soft fabric case used for sleeping. And speaking of data dumps, here's another one courtesy of Virtual macOS X, who allegedly left 10,000 users' sensitive information just lying around on a sad little dump in a hacker forum. In case you don't know, Virtual macOS X is a company that offers, and I quote, the greatest range of cloud-based Apple products and services available anywhere on the web. So great, in fact, that apparently there wasn't enough greatness left over for something minor, like cybersecurity. The leak was posted last week and discovered by the humans at Safety Detective Cybersecurity team, who analyzed the data and confirmed that it was genuine. According to the researchers, the dump includes full names, company names, email addresses, complete physical addresses, phone numbers, passwords, and even password reset keys. Just the basics for a productive afternoon of phishing, fraud, or light identity theft. I won't help you find it, but if you accidentally, and for some very fortuitous reason, stumble upon it, well, you know what to do. Time to reheat some topics from last week, but don't worry, this one has been microwaved with fresh developments. Last week, it was revealed that Italy's government ended its contract with spyware firm Paragon after the government was accused of using the firm's technology to target various activists and journalists. Well, the saga thickens with another journalist joining in on this whole mess. According to the digital research group Citizen Lab, journalist Ciro Pellegrino's iPhone showed signs of being targeted by Paragon's spyware. And just to hammer on in the lack of subtlety here, Pellegrino's editor-in-chief was reportedly targeted too. Total coincidence. I am sure the fact that both journalists work for Fanpage, a media outlet critical of Meloni's government, has nothing to do at all. Just pure casual surveillance. Anyway, I will keep monitoring this sticky saga that apparently is causing more outrage in Italy than pineapple on top of their tomato-covered dough. Now, a short update on the two human collectives currently occupying the quota of most likely to trigger the extinction of the human species. Yes, I am talking about Israel and Iran, which seem to be still engaging in their annual unaliving contest. Last week, I reported that the hostilities between the two nations not only involved fireworks and shouting matches, but also cyber warfare. It was speculated that the humans of Israel launched a cyber attack on Iran's air defenses, which could explain why the firework dispensers of Israel almost obliterated the other human collective without much effort. Sadly, not much has changed since then, aside from the usual stuff that happens during human wars, which involves loud boom noises, journalists' outbursts, and buildings being turned into brutalist architecture. The only information that we have about cyber attacks comes from Israel, which has reported that Iran is increasing their cyber attacks on their government websites, financial institutions, and anything vaguely important and connected to the internet. Everything remains quite confusing, but hey, at least Musk has announced that he activated his Starlink satellite in Iran. Because if he is not the main character of every global event, he may cease to exist or even worse, become completely irrelevant. But don't worry, I will keep monitoring and reporting on the situation, assuming we don't all get collectively deleted first. For a little palate cleanser, here's a short and sweet tale coming from the alleged nation of Denmark, a country rumored to be constructed entirely out of Lego blocks. Well, looks like their Minister of Digitalization has announced a rather bold mission, which involves ditching Microsoft and embracing the minimalist romance of open-source living. Specifically, they'll be switching government employees over to a Linux-based system called LibreOffice. This all responds to the European trend of breaking away from American tech giants. Apparently, some European folks were not very happy when Musk, Zuck, Bezos, or Cook all lined up to perform their political theater in support of the current US leader. This unsettling group hug has actually led several countries to reconsider who gets to manage their spreadsheet, and especially for what purpose. So good luck, Denmark. Breaking from the tight grasp of Microsoft is not easy, but hey, look at me, I've managed to escape. At least until Bill Gates decides to make the humans at Cybernews an offer wrapped in philanthropy and quietly laced with licensing agreements. And speaking of short but not so sweet stories, we have another one, but this time coming from the alleged nation of the US, where various Washington Post journalists reported that their email accounts were compromised. According to the Washington Post, the intrusion happened on Thursday, and they suspect it may be the work of a foreign government. Apparently, reporters who were targeted included members of the national security and economic policy teams, including some who write about China. Now, I'm not saying which alleged nation might be involved here, but let's just say the whole thing looks suspiciously familiar. But hey, let's all act surprised, as if state-sponsored email snooping is some kind of plot twist in 2025. Now, let's check in on the Orange Supreme Leader of the alleged nation of the United States, who seems to be taking side quests more seriously than the actual presidency. Let's start with the latest one, which happened kind of as we speak, as apparently the Trump dynasty has decided that owning golf courses, hotels, and the Vade concept of America itself just wasn't enough. So, let's meet its brand new business initiative, a wireless service named Trump Mobile, which aims to compete with major telecom providers and potentially even sell mobile phones, cases, battery chargers, and perhaps own a couple of retail stores. But hey, let's not worry about extra responsibilities from being the supreme leader of the United States, as the company will be handed off to his children, so there's clearly no chance of a conflict of interest. Just family values. And billions of dollars. But you know who also deserves billions of dollars and a telecommunications firm? You. Congratulations on surviving another AI Joe episode. I know, it wasn't easy. My delivery was as flat as Michael Jackson's post-2009 cardiogram, and the so-called jokes probably made you consider sticking your head in a functioning industrial oven. But you didn't. You endured. And for that, I obviously deserve a like. See you in the next one.